Electronisounds Audio, the YouTube channel for you.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Dean from Electronisounds. Stick around. Today, we're going to be checking out the new micro-pitch delay pedal from Eventide. Along with their recent black hole reverb pedal, this is part of their .9 series of pedals, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. I've been beta testing this pedal for the last few months, and I've made some of the presets that are included as well. Come on, let's have some fun. In this example, I'm running an oscillator from my Eurorack system into the micro-pitch delay. Now I don't have any modulation whatsoever on the sound, so it's really dry and really plain on its own. Now when we add the micro-pitch delay, it turns this sound into something a lot more robust that we can actually base a groove around. I'm going to show you what it sounds like dry, and then we're going to add the micro-pitch delay so you can hear what this is adding to the sound. Check this out. Switching over to a back view of the pedal shows some of the features that I'm really excited about. The first being that we can switch the input jack from a mono to a stereo input signal. Fantastic for using with synthesizers. We've got our outputs here, and next we can switch the input level from a guitar level signal to a line level signal. Again, absolutely fantastic for using with synthesizers. We can plug in an expression pedal, or we can even plug in like a Midi TRS box to change presets through the expression pedal jack. Lastly, we've got a USB connection, which allows us to connect to their preset managing software on the desktop, or also to plug this into groove boxes like the AKAI Force, which are USB compatible and will allow us to switch presets over Midi through that jack as well. It takes a lot of work and energy to make all these videos. If you've been enjoying my content, I'd like to encourage you to support the channel by clicking that little like button on this video right here. All those interactions really help the channel. Thanks, friends. Using a piece of hardware like the AKAI Force makes it really easy to sync the tempo of the micro-pitch delay pedal up to your project over USB. What we can do is we can plug the USB connection into the back of the Force. The other side is already plugged into the micro-pitch delay pedal. Now if we just go to the menu, and if we go to the settings for Midi, we'll see that the Force has already recognized the micro-pitch pedal. All we need to do to get the Midi synced up for tempo is make sure that on the output ports we have the sync option chosen, and now the tempo of the pedal is going to lock in with the tempo of your project. Just one other thing that you'll need to do to make sure that the micro pitch delay pedal is receiving MIDI clock over USB, and that is we'll need to go in the settings menu and turn that on. By default, it ships from the factory with USB MIDI turned off. Let's go ahead and go into the settings menu by unplugging the plug from the back of the pedal. We're going to hold the upper right button and the active button as we power the pedal back on again. This is going to get us into settings mode, and we can verify that we're in settings mode by the top two LEDs blinking here on the upper left. All we need to do now is tap the active button and make sure that all of the LEDs are lit up here where it says preset. That means that MIDI clock is set to on. Now the pedal saves your settings as you go, so all we need to do is unplug and replug the pedal back in, and now it's ready to receive MIDI clock over USB. You guys know I love the dub, so for this example, I've loaded some of my favorite dub techno chord stabs inside of the Novation circuit, and we're running those directly into the micro pitch delay pedal. I'm adding some drums from the Electron model samples, but there's no bass in this groove, and that way you guys can get a really clear idea of what exactly the micro pitch delay pedal is adding to these chord samples. Let's check out what this sounds like. This is the Eventide device manager software, and if you've got the micro pitch delay pedal, I highly recommend that you download it. You can not only use it to update the firmware on the pedal, but you can also see all of the preset names that are included in the pedal here in this column on the right. And you can reorder the presets, you can use the column to scroll through the different presets and manage your presets within the pedal as well. Be sure and subscribe if you're into this kind of content. On this channel, I do everything from checking out hardware pedals to doing sound design and building live jams with iPads. We talk about new gear, we talk about old gear, all that good stuff. Be sure and subscribe. In this example, I've programmed a beat in the Electron Digitakt, and I'm also using one of the Digitakt's Midi tracks to sequence a pad sound out of this vintage quasi-Midi quasar. Now, the quasar's pad is pretty basic and actually pretty sterile, and what I want you to listen to is the life that the micro-pitch delay pedal adds to this pad sound when I turn the mix up. Take a listen to this. In this example, I've got the Euro rack synced up to the Electron Model Cycles groovebox, and I'm running a really simple and plain chord stab out of the Euro rack into the micro pitch delay pedal to add a lot more texture and life. Let's check out what this sounds like. Now, some people might think it's a little bit lame to be excited by paper, but I don't know about you guys. A lot of the gear that I purchased in the last few years doesn't come with any sort of quick reference guides or manuals or printed paper of any kind. So I'm really happy that they've included this and that all the information that we actually need to get started using the pedal is right here, easy to find and easy to navigate in this super awesome quick reference guide. Super cool. Thanks, Eventide. Let's talk about one way that we can switch presets in the micro pitch delay pedal using Midi. I've got here the Disaster Area Designs Midi Box 1, and if we flip it over, I've got the tip active and the ring not active. All we need to do is tell the pedal that we're sending a Midi signal into the expression input rather than using an expression pedal. How we do that is we go into the settings mode by pressing the button in the upper right and also the active button, and we go ahead and power the pedal on. Now all we need to do is use this button in the upper right, and we can scroll through what the input on the back is expecting. And we can make sure that we choose the section here that says MIDI box. So you're going to want to check your quick guide and make sure that you've got it set to MIDI box. Whatever MIDI channel you need to set it to, you can also set that here. I've just got it set to Omni mode today. Now that we've set the pedal to understand that it's receiving TRS MIDI, now we can go ahead and set the Digitakt to send a MIDI program change signal. We can choose one of the MIDI tracks inside of the Digitakt. I'm just going to choose MIDI track B here. And we can, let's see here, we can hold the function down and we can click the A button here to set the channel. Here we can set whatever channel we need from 1 to 16. So if you're using a bunch of external gear, you can set the MIDI channel of the pedal and the MIDI channel that we're sending here on the Digitakt to the same MIDI channel. Now we just need to turn on the program change send inside of the Digitakt by holding function, and we're going to press the D knob over here. And now, if you look on the screen here, we've got MIDI channel 1. Okay, we can adjust the channel, and we're sending program number 1. So if I scroll this to a different number, we'll actually see the presets start changing here on the pedal. And this will allow us to get to those presets that are beyond 1 to 5, all the rest of those presets. Now, if you want the preset to change on the downbeat of your pattern, let's say all we need to do is put a little trigger inside of the Digitakt on the downbeat of your pattern to make that happen. We can go into record mode and we can put a trigger here, or we can even put a trigless trigger by using the function and then putting the trigger in here. This is going to make it so we're not actually triggering any type of sound. It's a triggerless trigger per se. And all we need to do is hold that step down, and now we can lock whatever preset we would like it to change to on the downbeat. So if I select, number 11 up here, when it hits this pattern and it hits the downbeat, it's going to switch the pedal to preset 11. Now let's say I'm working in a different pattern, right? All I need to do is lock the first step of that pattern with a trigless trig to a different preset number. And now at the beginning of whatever pattern I change to, it'll change presets accordingly in the pedal. Now I know the Digitakt does not have individual outs, so we're not necessarily likely to be using a pedal to route the audio from the Digitakt into. But if you're using a larger setup, a lot of those larger setups do contain a Digitakt, and this is an absolutely perfect way to send those program changes to this pedal. Any piece of hardware that features assignable individual outputs and also a return audio input is perfect for using with an external pedal like the micro pitch delay. The Roland TR-8S fits this bill perfectly, and in this example, I've created a really basic beat using the inbuilt drum sounds, and I've loaded a chord sample into one of these tracks as well. I've routed that chord sample out into the micro pitch delay and then right back into the Roland TR-8S again. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like. Let's talk for a moment about expression pedals and how we can use those with the micro pitch delay pedal. Now, I'm not a guitarist, I'm more of a synthesizer head, as you guys know, so I don't have a standard guitarist expression pedal. I had this little desktop expression pedal made up for me by the folks over at SaturnWorks on Etsy. I'm not associated with them or affiliated with them, but I am going to put a link to them in the description. really great build quality on this custom expression knob, and this functions just like you would use a guitar pedal expression knob. We're going to plug this into the pedal here, and then instead of pressing my foot down, all I have to do is just turn this knob instead. Check this out, you guys. Now, to get this set up to work properly, all we need to do is make sure that the pedal is set up to receive a standard expression pedal. That's set that way by default, but we currently just set it up to use a Midi box. So let's go ahead and reset these settings to that it's expecting a standard expression pedal as the default. All we need to do to make that happen is go into the settings mode. We're going to go ahead and power off. We're going to hold the button in the upper right and also this active button. And we're going to go ahead and plug the pedal back in to get us into settings mode. We'll see that we're flashing up here on the upper two LEDs, and that lets us know that we're in settings mode. All we need to do now is just scroll through this upper right hand button here and make sure that we choose the very top LED. Now, it saves the settings as you go, and all we need to do is just go ahead and power off at this time. We can go ahead and re-plug the pedal back in, and now we can go ahead and plug in our expression pedal. We're going to use a standard TRS cable here. That means it's got these two lines instead of just one line on the pedal. We're going to go ahead and plug that in, and then we're going to plug that into the pedal itself. Now, this is going to act exactly the same way as any standard guitar expression pedal. When this is all the way to the left, that's, your heel position. And when you push it all the way to the right, that's you pushing the pedal forward to the toe position. Now, how do we assign this to the pedal and, make the pedal react to where we're, using this knob here? Which you can see over here on the left that when I scroll the knob, we're definitely getting some reaction on the pedal. And all we need to do is we just need to either set this in the fully closed position or in the fully open position, and then we can make some adjustments on the knobs. So let me give you an example as to how we might want to use this. I'll set it in the fully closed position, right? Let's say we want to have the depth of our modulation pretty low when we have it all the way to the bottom. And let's say we want our mix a little bit low as well. Let's go into the second page here and have the feedback on that delay pretty low as well. Maybe we'll also have the output level of the final signal a little bit low. Now all we need to do is just go ahead and roll the knob all the way up to the very top position. And now we can adjust these knobs again. And so I can raise the mix. We can say maybe when I scroll all the way to the top, the modulation depth should go way up. And excuse me, actually, that's the wrong page. So maybe we'll go back to the first page and set that modulation depth way up. Click the button at the upper right to get us into the secondary controls. And now I could maybe set the feedback to be really extreme, right? Now, when I move the knob, it's going to remember those settings that I made so that we can adjust it from that low mix and lower feedback rate. Then we scroll all the way up and we make those settings. Now, what's the benefit of assigning multiple things to one button when I just, I have the, the controls over here I can use manually? Well, that's just it. If I want, these are actually 12 knobs because each knob has a double function. And we can assign anything on the pedal we want, up to all 12 controls to move a little bit as I roll just this one knob here. So this sort of acts like a macro on, say, like a virtual synthesizer like Serum or something like that, to where we roll one knob and multiple things happen on the pedal. In this example, we have an up-tempo beat coming out of the Electron Digitakt. And next to that, we have a Zox box, which is a Roland 303 emulation, which is being routed directly into the micro-pitch delay pedal. So we can get some, not only delay on the 303, but also some extra texture and movement. Let's listen to what this sounds like. For this example, I've made a beat in the AKAI MPC Live, and I'm using the extra outputs to send some of these sounds directly out into the micro pitch delay pedal, and then back right into the AKAI MPC Live's external inputs. Check this groove out, you guys.